So how's it going, folks? It's Juno here. A friend I used to have, I think his name was Martin in college, once told me um, he was empathetic towards people who like metal, right? Rock music. And considering I liked rock when I was younger, I asked him why he felt it was need to be like empathetic towards them. And he said he wondered if a lot of people who went into that style, maybe it was because he felt that they had like disruptive home lives, and the angst and anger that was expressed through metal was some way in which they were being repressed, but they could still get it out. They could still find some way, an outlet for like that internal aggression, that conflict that they had. And I thought that was such an interesting insight that the dude was expressing. I'd never considered that before, and I realized that some of the reasons I liked rock music was definitely because of some of that. And I mean, this guy was like 4 years younger than me, but nevertheless, this observation he'd made was so on the mark. And as I've gotten older, I've realized this more and more, that people gravitate towards things that like vocalize and express the things that they struggle to get out. There's a real value in being able to articulate something. And I semi-hate that, you know. I kind of hate how we lean on people who are saying stuff because the way that they express it is so much more eloquent than the words we would put it into. And because it puts that great veneer and sheen on it, it makes us want to have them around and want to speak on our behalf. And you see, I always had this gift, you know, like I was always able to talk to people and let them know what I was thinking and feeling. I mean, I even make a big thing of trying not to repeat like the same word within a certain space of time, because I know I've got a lot of vocabulary. I'm able to like switch it out and try different things, work on my build and figure out what I want to do, like even before I've said it. And that's not to say I calculate it all, but it is a very quick process where as I'm rolling it out, you'll get different iterations and I'll just pick one and go with it. So this makes me wonder though, like when we have these means by which we're able to translate our thoughts and feelings into these articulations, and we find people who are able to do it for us, like what is the value in that? What is that? I mean, everyone wants to be heard, right? Everybody wants to be heard, so finding someone who's able to communicate what you think and feel in a way that other people can understand it, I mean, that's gold dust. But what kind of adds on to that is that through the power of that release, sometimes you're able to really put the best representation forward, maybe even better than it really is. You know, you're kind of upselling the concepts and ideas to something that maybe they aren't really able to hold. And this kind of makes me think a lot about the way that marketing works. So maybe like the most basic form of marketing is just explaining what something is, right? It's just some kind of deconstruction of a thing so that it's digestible for somebody else. But what you realize is if you're able to do that, then with a little bit of creativity, you can begin to predict what people are going to want to hear, what's going to make them react in a different way and act differently towards something, and then you change what you're going to say to fit. You calibrate it so that it's in the version they want to hear. And you can do that to the point where really what you're saying may no longer have that much relevance to the thing you're talking about. But it's fitting, it's hitting all the criteria, it's hitting all the marks for them, and you're going to get the reaction you want. And when people tell us things about ourselves, this is where I find I'm able to get the most social clout. I predict, or I make predictions about what people want to hear about themselves, and then I give them the means by which to justify those beliefs about whatever their situation is. So, like, people do it all the time now, and because I used to do it a lot, I see it when they do it. I see it when there's a fat girl and she's upset with her weight because it means people aren't attracted to her, but she likes to eat, and then someone can come along and tell her, oh, it's not your fault, right? They can begin to give her reasons and explanations, however far away from the truth, departed from the truth they are. If they sound internally congruent, contingent, like they make sense with a certain kind of logic, then that delivers a kind of hope to this girl. I mean, it happens to guys too. Our lives are meaningless, right? And like, we're just bags of bones walking around like abandoned buildings. And we want to have a purpose and we want something to mean something. But there's nothing in the world that really is left for us to do. So we're sold shit to make us feel like everything we do matters when we know it doesn't. We become the hero of a video game because we feel like there's no chance to be a hero in real life. There's just too many of us now. All we can really compete over is girls, which is absurd. Like, only a very few select people are going to compete over things like athletic ambition and ability. Only a few people are going to go into like the strategic areas of business and the other like highly academic areas. Most of us don't lead remarkable lives, and we're not going to, but we can still be told we are, and we eat that shit up. We love it. But you can see it. If you know how it works, you can see when someone's doing it to you. When what they're doing isn't doing you a favour, they're gaining your favour. There's this quote, I don't quite remember it, but it's something like, when looking at history, oh, I wish I had it on. I can talk alright, my memory's pretty bad though. Yeah, so when talk about history, it's something like, they admit things of merit, but omit the necessary. Okay, so they say the things people want to hear, not what they need to hear. And it's that the distance between want and need that we're able to negotiate in ourselves. Oh, I didn't really need it, but I really needed to hear the good thing about myself. Which isn't true at all, right? You don't need to hear these good things about yourself. It might help you out, and you might gain a little bit of confidence, but that confidence was always in your perception, right? That was in your remit to control. But the outside trigger for it let you know that, okay, now it's their fault if it's wrong. Before, the risk was all on me if I made a bad call and I deluded myself, the risk was on me, but now someone else is deluding me. Now it's their fault. So I'm free, right, of responsibility. And sometimes I feel like I want to go out there and just give, like, guys who are stuck, right? I want to tell them, listen, if you're just worried about being held responsible, fuck it. Blame me, right? Let me give you the authority. Let me give you a pass on this. Go do what you need to do, and if anyone asks you why, who said you could do this, say Juno said. Juno said I could do this. Alright, and then let me take the hit for you. Because I would rather... Listen, we're all dead men already. Once you become a man, what you need to learn is you're already dead. And you need to live like that. You need to live like you... Like the terminal diagnosis is today, right? It's coming, and you need to know that you lived up until this moment the way that you should have lived, not putting stuff off, not giving yourself excuses. That doesn't mean you can't plan for the future. It means you need to recognize that your future involves you in this state of being animated but dead. And what you don't need is people lying to you and telling you that everything's fine and you're going to live forever and never to worry about nothing. And you don't need to allow people to be tricking you. When they sell you what you want to hear, when they're marketing to you, when they're trying to gain your favour and support by saying nice things about you and then coming up with some justification for it, you have to see through it. Because down that road lies delusion. And you will find enough people to surround yourself with the unreal, if you really want to, if you're committed to it. People who agree with things that aren't true because they make you feel better and then get your support and favour, and that makes them feel better. They feel supported. They feel like, I've got an ally here, right? I said the things he liked, and now I know to preserve and validate those things, he'll protect me. And it is this web of insecurity that then causes groups of people to act in this parasitic manner on each other, where they think all they need to do is say something that reassures somebody, it makes them feel supported, and then they can do whatever they want after that. Because then, like, how do you hold someone to account after they supported you in that way? How do you then... And the truth is you can be friends and disagree. You can have respect for somebody and know they're wrong. Right? It doesn't have to break down there. But a lot of people can't see that. A lot of people need to know, you agree with me 100%, right? Everything I say, you've got my back. And then these masses just build around this nucleus. And they're just heming fat globules. Just accumulating like lipid outer layers like an onion. But there's nothing in it, right? Like you go to the center of the onion, it's just onion. It's just all onion all the way. There's nothing to it. I mean, it's got some flavor, but it's just layers on layers. There's no like acorn in the middle. There's no like seed. There's nothing. It's like a little bulb. That's it, just a tiny little bulb. Made of the same material as the rest of it. When you're marketed to, or when you're trying to get some marketing going, if you're a business, you're going to love it if somebody comes in and says all the best things about your product or service. But how much are you going to love it when you know the things they're saying about your product and service just simply aren't true? It takes courage to be able to have the integrity to know that, okay, I love what you're saying, but it's just not true. My product and service doesn't do this. This is a lie. This is fraudulent. When you do it in business, there's actually some law behind it, right? Now you're going to be held to account. But when you do it socially, there's nothing there. There's nothing there to prevent people lying to you socially. And if you feel like the lie benefits you, you'll repeat it. You'll take it into you'll incorporate it into your identity. You'll pass it along. And you'll start reflecting other people's. See, this is the thing about crowds. When you think it's your voice against 100 voices, that's where you're wrong. It's your voice against one voice reflected 100 times. Right? Remember that. When you're... Really, every debate, every challenge, every conflict is always one voice against another. And it's just the perception of the voices that changes. It's my message against that message. And they are exclusionary. Right? They contradict each other. Only one can be true or closer to the truth than the other. And just because 100 people parroting that voice, that message, that doesn't mean I'm being attacked by 100 messages. It's still just the one message. The one solution that solves the problem will solve all of them at once. You won't have to create 100 solutions for it. Don't get marketed to. That's the core of grift. Alright? Anyone who's going to grift, they know that what they're doing is selling you something you don't need because you want it more than the things you do. Sometimes you got to eat the potatoes, right? You got to eat them. You got to eat your veggies. And you can't just have dessert all the time. I mean, see how long that lasts for. See how long it lasts for just eating non-stop dessert. Alright guys, I gotta go out, but thanks very much for listening. All my love to you. I'll see you around.